Hey, World Entertainment, and the Running Man remake is now officially underway, filming in the UK, and we've got not just a couple of behind the scenes images, we got a shit ton of them, and we're gonna have a look at them. But first, we'll have a look at a bit of an article that just talks about it a little bit before we jump into the actual images, which are interesting to say the least. So it says, Glen Powell is running towards superstardom. The Top Gun Maverick and Twister's leading man has been making a name for himself these past few years as a singular sort of everyman Hollywood megastar. And he will continue that streak, it seems, in the latest Edgar Wright project, a remake of the '87 Arnold Schwarzenegger film The Running Man, which began filming this week in London. In new Daily Mail images from the set, Powell is looking retro-futuristic as he makes his way through crowds of extras in front of the iconic Battersea Power Station in London, England. The Running Man is based on the novel of the same name, written by Stephen King under the pseudonym of Richard Beechman in '82, previously adapted by director Paul Michael Glaser, with Arnold Schwarzenegger in the lead role. The original film was a very loose adaptation that took place in 2017. However, Wright has stated that his take, co-written alongside Michael Bacall, will hew closer to the novel's origins, meaning it is likely that The Running Man will be set during the year 2025. That's right, it's set in the future. Next year. So taking place in a dystopian United States that is proverbially running on fumes and in shambles economically due to the rising violence worldwide, the novel follows a man named Ben Richards who decides to participate in the titular reality show where contestants win money by evading a team of professional hitmen sent to kill them. So you can see the original film really didn't maneuver too far away from the original story. You still had Ben Richards, you still had the Running Man, you still had the reality show. It's just that this case, he decided to participate in it. But let's have a look at the images. So the first image, if you didn't know this was on a film set, you would just think it was Glen Powell walking around on the street. But you can see what he's going to be in. Is a jacket, a hoodie, pair of chinos, pair of boots, whatever. You know, there's not really much to that image. Just looks like an everyday what's happening. Now this one, you can see clearly that the power station, and you see these security people. Now these aren't the actual security in that area or anything. This is in fact the movie's cops and security and whatnot, and obviously you see all the extras. So I'm assuming this building may end up being where the Running Man show is meant to be taking place. It may not, but I'm assuming that is possibly what that is, seeing as it has so many of these cops around it. So this one is where it starts getting really interesting, is this car. So you see the car, you can see this guy over here on the left in this suit. Now the suit doesn't look quite modern, but it doesn't look old-timey either. But the car is definitely retro, you know what I mean? This like the 80s right here. There's another car that we're gonna see, and it's like, okay, so it's interesting. That's like, okay, it's meant to be set in 2025, which is next year, and yet the cars are from the 80s, which is interesting. So here's a much better image of these security guys. It does say something on their chest, but I can't make out what that says. The kind of cop suits are kind of very somewhat similar to what they wear in the original film. He seems to have one of these, like what looks like an electric truncheon type thing and whatnot. Then we get Glen Powell just on the set having a laugh with, I'm assuming, an assistant or something, don't know. There's no other images, I don't think, of other cast members, just him. Another shot, of course, of all these cops or security, whatever they are. I'm assuming they're cops. And again, you kind of see where they're all setting up and stuff for the shot, and you can kind of make out the person over here on the left of the image in between the two cops across on like the other section. who has an interesting hairstyle. And what I mean by that is we start seeing some people who do look like almost 80s or 90s. But then we get this. Do you recognize this? No, guys, this isn't for a Knight Rider show. This is in The Running Man. Yet, it's none other than Kit, the Pontiac. I'm pretty sure it's a Pontiac. But it's Kit. Whether it's actually meant to be Kit or not, I have no idea. But for some reason, that car is there. I'm expect if I don't see a red light on the front of this thing, I'm going to be majorly disappointed. Now, this image is interesting because, again, it's Glen Powell walking. You can clearly see he's been filmed from behind. But look how normal his clothes are. And then look at everyone else around him. Very kind of futuristic, which is really weird that he's kind of in normal clothes, wearing futuristic clothes. The cars are from the 80s. Like, what is going on? So, what kind of weirdness is this? You know, it would make more sense if they set it further in the future. Like, if you're making The Running Man in 87 and you set it in 2017, you had so many years before you ever got there. You could pretty much make up what you wanted. But the fact that this is going to take place in the year that it's actually going to come out, or at least it's meant to come out in 2025, why would you make it look like this? More Glen Powell just kind of standing around having a laugh. This one is interesting because, never mind the director, it gives you your first logo for the movie, which is very much the same as the original logo, just without the little Running Man himself on it. But there is the official Running Man logo. A lot of these images do end up kind of the same, but again, you kind of see more that kind of futuristic-y style of jacket and stuff on all the extras, and Glen Powell just, again, in normal, standard clothes. Again, more looks of him. You know, a lot of these shots end up. But then we get to this, where it starts getting interesting. So we have this person who has a mask on, a hood up and stuff, and it looks like they've just done something. Now, is this meant to be a part of the resistance or something that takes down the show of The Running Man? Or is this someone who is running away from the assassins like the Running Man? What is this scene? We don't know. But there is more. So here's another one of them pushing past someone. And again, you see that the hairstyle of, I'm assuming this is a woman, is very 80s in terms of what you'd see on TV and movies. But the jacket is that kind of 80s style of futuristic of what they thought the 2000s style would look like, which is interesting, especially compared to the guy running past her, who again, like Glen Powell, seems to be wearing quite normal clothes. So it's an interesting look for this. And again, this one here, you see him running away, you see the woman kind of turning around looking at what's going on. So clearly this guy is probably being chased or something. We see Glen Powell talking with assistants and whatnot. He's probably one of the producers or something, we don't know. Then another front shot of the Pontiac, as I'm just going to keep calling it, Kit, from Knight Rider. And of course we can see, and I'm pretty sure yous are all doing the same thing I did when I saw this, is you're looking at where the red light would be and you're making the sound in your head of Kit's light going from side to side. But that's an interesting one. It's also interesting that the light and stuff there seems to be set up looking into whatever this store is, whether it's a cafe or some sort. And yeah, it looks like it's, again, like a normal type of store. You don't see any kind of futuristic computer screens or anything in there. Not that we can really see all that well in, but you can see in, and there's nothing like that. Again, we get this other shot of this Lotus, it says there. What's that say? Turbo G Spirit or something on it, I think. It says something on the side. Again, the car choices are weird for this, and seems to be in that kind of same location as Kit is in. So I don't know how much of part these cars will play in. It's obviously they're just taking photos of it because it's like, ooh, that's interesting. Again, another interesting shot of, like, the people's clothes look somewhat futuristic. Glen Powell looks like he's in everyday clothes, and then the setting around with these screens and stuff looks futuristic again. It's so strange. It really is so strange. But that's all the images anyway for what we're getting for this movie so far. Only started filming and we've already got a crap ton of images. So it's going to be interesting to see what else starts coming out and see images of the other stars and stuff. I'm not even sure if other cast members are officially named. I know there was the rumour of Sydney Sweeney being the love interest, but I haven't heard anything else about that since. We'll wait and see. It's going to be interesting. We'll see if it can stick the landing. So with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.